in years. Here's one thing I think is interesting to note, and you guys should keep in mind, is that the skunkiness of the herb and how juicy, let's call it, the terp profile is, has more to do with how you've applied nutrients to your plants than anything else. I mean, other than like not fucking up your drying and things like that, not putting it away too wet or whatever that is. But let's just say all thing else equal, like you're doing sunlight versus indoor and this versus that. Here's what I can say is, no matter what you do, no matter what your lighting situation is, no matter what your environmental conditions are, any of that other stuff, if you over fertilize the shit out of your plants and give them too much, particularly most people use too much calcium nitrate, but a toxicity of any mineral is not going to be good. It's going to taste shitty no matter what. Over-ferted outdoor, over-ferted greenhouse, over-ferted LED, over-ferted any of that. And identifying visually what makes a plant have good morphology and nutrient application that causes the plant to have bad morphology has the biggest effect of anything, without question, on the quality of your cannabis. The qualities that we care about, maybe not the qualities, big booth farmer cares about, which is like sitting on the shelf and smelling like oranges for 3 months, yields really good and makes hash. I mean, that's all they care about, is just yield, which that's the economics of cultivation. That's why you get shitty produce at the grocery store. And so, but that's not why we're here. Like this community and our group and our type of people, we don't give a fuck about all that. We're the people that are at the farmers market. That's like what big ag is doing has nothing to do with what we fucking care about. So, it's like, to me, even having conversations with those people is a waste of time, because unless their business model of growing tons of weed for cheaply, unless their business model also has extreme retail strategy, meaning that they're going to not only use their cultivation prowess and volume, but they have to have a very strategic model, which we all know what sells in the market: quality and pricing. So it has to be the best product at the best price. That's the only guy that's going to win. So it doesn't really matter how much weed you can grow, because once this shit is in every state and in every country and there's no lack of supply anywhere, it's going to be who's the best and does it the cheapest. And that's going to be what 90% of the market is. It is that way in most states already. So, and it has less to do with what your inputs are than it does with your ability to cultivate those plants efficiently, effectively, and naturally looking, so to speak. I mean, I got buddies with big operations in New Jersey. New Jersey is going downhill fast. Everybody's trying to, create a really good strategy that, frankly, most of them started this business having zero strategy. So it's pretty interesting to see how this is going to turn out, because now everyone that had a business model that was just, I'm going to grow it and they'll come, is turning into, I'm growing it, but no one's coming. So, you guys fucking smoke one up, and I'm going to start rolling a fat joint of this blue limeade, and I'll kind of explain the project and what I was trying to create with that hybrid. So the blue limeade is the result of a project I've been working on for a long time. I originally had this Blue Dream crossed with cookies that I found from Seeds with Down with Dirt, Riley. So he gave me some seeds, and I popped them, and it wasn't a particularly rare phenotype, because I found 2 or 3 in the like 20 or 30 seeds that I had. I don't remember how many I had, but it wasn't a lot. And the number 11 and the number, I think it was like 4 or 3 or something like that, had this like blueberry polyester smell, this really potty, like noted out growth structure. And and like just was really dank weed. I mean, it was a weird plant kind of. It had very little leaf on it. It was very like long internode spacing, but big buds on it that were almost no leaf. It almost kind of looked like a drawing. It was just kind of weird. And I sent that to a friend of mine in Hawaii, and he worked with it for a little bit, and he hybridized it with another clone that a buddy of mine had selected from my duct tape seeds. That's called the Chem Chi. Shout out Casper, and that got hybridized to the C11 or the C11, which was Blue Dream crossed with cookies, number 11. And that plant was also crossed with lemon peel, which we have another variety that we've saved that my buddy in Hawaii made and selected that we call the 111G, which is lemon peel crossed with the original C11, no duct tape in it. So the C11, I lost the clone of it. And so now all I have to work with from that original population is the Blue Dream Cookie duct tape line. And then I think we have 2 or 3 phenotypes or genotypes of the Blue Dream Cookie lemon peel. And so I didn't make the selection from the lemon peel hybrids. I just got the clones from my friend that he's old school. He's been growing since like 1985. So he's one of the few people that I will take selections back from. So anyways, to get off the lemon peel side of that, which is future projects and stuff, is over here we were working with just the Blue Dream Cookie duct tapes, and I kept a number 4, 11, 13, 18, 20, and 30, if I remember right. And they were all like had really unique, nice traits. Some were more blueberry-ish, some were more blue dream-ish. And some were better yielding. Some had really nice stem structure with the quality. Like the number 4 was like really nice stems. So I liked the number 20, which was like the most blueberry-ish with the really good bud structure, is bud and growth structure, and very little leaf on the plant in general. So it didn't like, or not leaf, but it wasn't like it didn't. Not much hair, right? So it was like not very hairy looking weed at all. Which, like, if you guys have seen the picture or looked at the video I posted online, this thing when it finishes up, it has that just blown out calyx look where there's almost no visible hairs, which is like pretty desirable from a bag appeal standpoint, especially if the weed smoke's good and it's covered in resin. So that C20, which it's the Blue Dream duct tape, Blue Dream Cookie duct tape, the number 20 from that. I kept trying to make a bunch of hybrids with it. So I femmed it to a whole bunch of other stuff. And then I also pollinated it in a Tahiti lime mail room. So we popped the Tahiti lime seeds, and that's this plant. So it's Tahiti lime crossed with that C line, the C11, C20, C4, all like we just kept maintaining the C line on that because that was that original Blue Dream Cookie duct tape, and we lost the original clone. So it just made labeling easier for us long term to keep with the C nomenclature. So if you hear me seeing C11, see all these numbers, it's just the nomenclature that we use internally for keeping track of all the plants so we don't have to write out the lineage all the time. And you'd be surprised, actually, like, the guys that work at the breeding facility, like they know the plants better by the numbers than they do by the hybrid, the letters and the numbers, which is great because now we have like way less bias in how things are done. And we can really get a more kind of, different viewpoint. So anyways, that's what this is it's a Tahiti lime male crossed with Blue Dream crossed with cookies, and then that crossed with duct tape, the number 20 phenotype of that. So I don't know why the glue on this paper is not sticking. I'll ask you guys, what do you guys think? That the glue on a bunch of on Elements papers has gone downhill recently? Because like I got a box of the 300 packs, and like, dude, the fucking glue does not stick on these things. So I'm not happy about that. All right, let's see if I can answer some questions. What are you guys talking about in here? Let's see. Most people are happy with the 50-ounce shit. Yeah, I mean, it's no different than beer or anything else. All right, this joint sucks because let me try another paper because this glue is just not sticking. All right, who's got questions? Stop, discussing other people's shit. No one cares about the drama club. I mean this Blue Dream cookie, and then I have the blueberry malasada too, which is like very. So to describe like the terp profile on this blue limeade is kind of how the name sounds. It's got a strong like. Let me put it up to my nose. Like everybody tells me that they think it has lemon peel in it when they first smell it, but it's like a skunky, basil-y kind of herbal, lime peel, almost like the little caviar limes, how those taste, and then that with like a sharp, like ripe blueberry, like eating a hot blueberry off the bush, one that's been baking in the sun, that's like overripe, not tart, but it's not sour, but it's like tart, I guess. It's kind of hard to describe. All right, this one might work out better. Might have to wrap the glass tip though with a little extra paper. Everybody wants to show their perfectly rolled joints and everything. And I mean, and this thing's not bad. I mean, it's as much weed as you can get into a 1 1/4. I'll tell you that much. But getting that thing tight against the paper can be difficult. Getting the glass tip tight against the paper. So what I do is I just rip a little paper off, especially since I just wasted one, and put that fucker on there and wrap it on there. If I can get this thing to stick, I guess it's not going to work because that was the one that had the fucked up glue. All right, let's try that again. See, I mean, I'm an amateur at things too, man. I'm definitely not a glass tip rolling pro, that's for sure. But I do agree that it like just the feel of a glass tip is definitely better than like a regular tip. And I wouldn't describe it as diesel. I'd more describe it as like lemon peel. Like if you know the lemon peel, it's got lemon peel terps, from that lemon lime line. If you guys aren't familiar with the Tahiti lime, that is Moonbow 25, which was a phenotype that was low yielding but hybridized well. crossed with the lemon lime line, which was the lemon peel lemon heads line. And like just as soon as you hit this stuff, it just immediately, like I barely hit that, and it just immediately tastes like, as strong as basil is or in your mouth when you eat it, it's like just coats your mouth with flavor. In this circumstance, it was one single male, but I do use multiple males as well. Yeah, I mean, for me, it if I were to describe it in relative strains, I would say to me it tastes like lemon peel, that C20, which is the Blue Dream hybrid, duct tape hybrid, and almost like, I guess, I-95. Like there is a cheminess in there too, because it just sticks to your palate like that. I have not seen Zitos from Karma, so I have no idea. Yeah, I would not describe this as particularly sweet. It's more of like a fizzy blue limeade. It's kind of got that effervescent tongue tingle to it. And so this was grown in cocoa fiber mixed with like 20% peat and perlite. And then nutrients on this would have been I think this room was GH3 part. We're always testing stuff because with so many different varieties and my guys that run the breeding facility that work up there, I try to keep things, more simple for them and try to always find something that works better across a wide range of plants. And just so we change pot size, we change nutrient formula, we change application rate, we change irrigation style even pretty often, partially by design and by choice, and partially just by results of people and their things they want or need or what works well for them. I think that's one thing that a lot of people overlook in trying to deploy their brand or trying to recreate their quality somewhere else, is that how someone applies, like the nutrients in particular, has a massive effect on the quality of the herb. And you can give them the formula, but just a few things being wrong or a few environmental things or mechanical things changing in the room, and everything's thrown off. And if they don't know how to adjust for that situation, it won't matter how good your formula is. As soon as the one thing that wasn't supposed to happen happens, which it always inevitably will, how they respond to it's going to 100% affect the quality of the herb. I mean, I just love smoking this herb personally. I mean, it's like sour diesel in that you just smoke it and it just keeps tasting better. It just tastes really good. Um, I don't think it's any slouch in potency, but my tolerance is so fucked up that um, you know, I wouldn't know the difference between 25 and 29%. Yep, for sure. Yeah, I mean, if you were smoking cat piss, dog shit, uh, the Albert Walker, all that stuff, it was a pretty small group of us. most of whom were tied to me in one way or another that were growing that stuff. So if you're in Seattle from 2002 or 3 until 2015, there was some good herb that went around. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to keep talking about someone else, I am just going to put you in timeout. Let's see, 24 hours. How about that? Perfect. Problem solved. I would describe it as it right in the middle. I mean, it's got your Blue Dream cookies. It's got everything in there, kind of. It's definitely a polyhybrid. There's no question about that. But that's the point of a clone, is to just find one unique one that came out of that population. The plant grows really well. It grows fast. It doesn't grow too tall. It stretches nicely. It fills out. The main thing to avoid with this plant is to avoid giving it too much nitrogen. If you will, it'll continue to stretch and kind of flower for too long. And so, well, not flower for too long, but it'll go like an extra week, and you'll lose like the dense, tight bud structure. So essentially, everybody talks about phenotype, and but genotype is really what we're talking about when you make the selection of the single clone. So that genotype, and then how you feed it, how the lighting, your environment that you give to it, is actually how you change the phenotype of that genotype. And so if you're the whole manipulation of nutrients, I think phenotype is more tied to nutrient application than any other environmental factor. That's my personal opinion. And the quality of the herb, the morphology of the herb, the terp profile is all essentially subjected to how you apply the nutrients. And if you use too much calcium nitrate, give too much CalMag or whatever you're doing, you're definitely going to get longer flowering plants. You're going to get what I call big stem, small bud syndrome, which is over fertilization and like what happens to cookies when you try to grow it in a room with stuff that does like lots of cal nitrate. This is a plant that does not like lots of cal nitrate. So you're going to want to pull your CalMag, or in particular your calcium nitrate, and not necessarily get rid of your mag sulfate, and maybe switch to like a calcium sulfate for your calcium source, instead of using calcium nitrate earlier in flower than you would normally, or at least use your calcium nitrate source more sparingly. So go in between waterings or nutrient applications and don't use your cal nitrate. And that'll have a pretty significant impact on making the quality of that herb better. Like sour diesel is a perfect example of this. When you see sour, it has like a telltale sign of when you're using too much nitrate, and it's the ram's horns leaves. If you give diesel a lower cal nitrate formula, it will not put off nearly as many ram's horns leaves. Whereas if you give it too much cal nitrate, the thing is literally just ram's horn all the way up the whole plant, basically. Even the fan leaves come out looking like that. And so I would highly recommend, playing with your cal nitrate. But this plant's not like sour diesel. It just it tightens up and makes like a slender cola instead of expanding and making a big, fat, juicy cola, which you'll see in the photos or the videos that are on the Clone Club. You can see how fat those buds can get. You just have to feather that nitrate. Stop asking when I'm going to drop stuff, because it's up to way too many things. So it may drop, it may not drop. It will in the future. The more you ask, the less likely I am to do it. I'm one of those people. The more you ask, the less likely I'm going to do it. I think flushing makes a difference, especially depending on your nutrient application. If your plants are really healthy and you have white roots at the end, you may not need very much flushing because you've feathered the nutrients correctly. The plant's very healthy and it's going to eat through its nutrient allotment very fast. But a lot of the times people kill the roots off at some point. overwatered them, over fertilized them a little bit, had to back off and use water too much too early. And then the plants aren't as healthy, so you're going to need a week or two to be able to get all that nutrient out of the media. So thanks, you guys. I appreciate your guys' support. Just doing what I love here, and trying to provide value to the people that actually care about this shit. I mean, we're not in the 90%, we're in the 10%. And everyone's so cutthroat to just try and make $10 that we're really not seeing much unique good shit. I mean, look at the most recent 5 or 10 most popular strains that you feel like have come out that are in dispensaries everywhere. And what's the quality of those herbs? Your Oreos, your white truffles, like all that stuff. I mean, it's just cookies and cream version 20. So I think, we should be in our scene, we should be championing the people that are trying to make something, unique to themselves and not just, eat off someone else's plate. Sure would make going to these events a lot more fun instead of seeing 50 different jars of the same clone grown 10 of the same ways, basically. Yeah, I think Z-Weed is what won the Terp Wars event up here. I saw the weed. I thought it was really good. Yep, you got to have big, pearly, thick white roots. If you've got that at the end of flower, you can get super clean burn with basically no flushing. But if your shit's not healthy at the end of flower, your root system, and I mean, it's not hard to check it. You just, when you harvest your plants, dump your pots out, and what's the color of your roots when you finish. And if they're nice and white, it'll be really easy to flush. And if they're not, you're gonna need more time. It's just, that's all it is. I'm 97 years old. ASL. I'm not Gen X, but I should be. I should have been pre-gen. I mean, as you can see, I don't even have anything to say. Like, I really enjoy this herb. That's all I can really say. It burns great. It smokes great. Here's what the jar looks like, or the. Let me see if my cell phone light will help. Sorry, I don't have everything set up, but I'm all over the place so much that it becomes difficult to have a setup for everything everywhere. I don't know if that's better, but you can see how resin coated the stuff is. So, all right, why don't you guys ask some questions that are like strain specific for this that you guys want to know? I feel like I've covered a lot of it. I mean, I feel like I've basically described the whole cultivation experience with it at this point. But, whatever other questions you guys got. I mean, I don't think you guys are going to find anybody else that does what I do that can tell you all this, because they're just not, people aren't doing the work. They just don't care about the quality of the herb that they're putting out or the products they're putting out. It sucks, but it is what it is. They're here for the cash grab, and that's it. Like I said, I haven't hashed this thing yet. I have a room with like a light of it right now that I'll probably hash everything but like maybe the quarter pound of the tops or something. But like based on my observation skills, which I'm usually pretty good at just knowing this stuff just by looking at it, knowing the variety, having the experience that I have. My guess is this thing's probably a 4%er. It might do 5, but it's probably definitely does 4. And just like the terps are awesome on it. So I mean, even if it did 3.5, I'd still be stoked because it has a really good biomass yield. So like the thing people have to keep in mind is that 4% yield's great if the thing yields, twice as much as a plant that yields 7%. It's like, it's pretty easy math there. You get twice the weight at 4% is an 8% yield of something half the weight. It's that simple. So it's really not, it's not about the percentage of yield, and it's not about just its biomass yield. It's about how many grams of hash you get per square foot. That's really all that matters. It's both of them together. We are under Gavita 1900s and 2400s. 2/3 those and 1/3 750 watt Gavitas. That's what all the breeding rooms are. Right. 3 with fire terps with good biomass is 6% of less biomass with anything else. So it's or 6% with half the biomass. So it's a really good plant to grow, which is makes it that much easier to cultivate. But as you guys can see, it smokes good. And I mean, I'm not holding it upside down the whole time, but as you can see, I think you just saw the resin ring grow right there as it's on screen, just from me holding it like that. So it's definitely very resinous. People ask all the time why I don't do certain podcasts or whatever else. And the main reason for me is that like if the host doesn't ever challenge anybody or research anything before they do it, I don't really want to be on a podcast like that. To me, those podcasts are just sales pitches. They're infomercials. And I'm not saying the podcast specifically someone was asking about is that, but when you allow people to go on there and do infomercials and not at least be even asked, they're not even asked questions about what they're talking about. It's just a disservice to everybody. And, you're allowing these people to tell other people falsehoods, using your platform to perpetuate these falsehoods, giving them no information to even go research that there may be an alternative viewpoint. And then even promoting them. It's just like, I just don't want to be associated with it. It's fine if like that's your thing or whatever, but yeah, it is what it is. Like if I know the person's personally, then I might go on their podcast or something and try and give it some value. But it's like when the podcast is run like a business in this space, meaning it has sponsorships, it's like doing shit not based on what they want, but because it pays them a little bit of money, that's going to turn me off from it, like right there. And if they do it with like super fraudulent people, then it's just like, I don't want to be guilty by association. If you got frauds on, if 60% of the people you have on here are just full of shit, that means if I go on there, it's a 60% chance that I look like I'm full of shit. It's that simple. It's like if something has too much association with something that's undesirable, then by you associating with it, you're basically guilty by association. Yes, that is like 99% of the internet influencer culture, but that's not, I don't think any of the 300 people, 285 people that are in here, I don't think any of us is trying to be an influencer by any means. Yep, freeze dried hash changed the game for sure. And if any of you guys know me in real life, you guys know I won't smoke a joint down this far unless it's super good. I mean, I won't even, I'd rather not smoke weed than smoke weed that's below grade at all. Like if it doesn't have good staining flavor, then I'm not gonna smoke it. I might hit it to be nice, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, if your podcast has the style of a Billy Mays infomercial at 1 a.m., I'm good. Yeah, the Chem Dosi is good. I like that clone that's down at the store. I think that was the number 9 cut, 8, 9, number 8, number 9, something like that. It's dank. Mac's grown it a bunch down there, and he's got samples. I grew it a few times. It just wasn't like, it wasn't something I wanted to work further into something, if that makes any sense. Chem 91 in general is difficult for me to work with. Both Chem 91 and OG, in my opinion, are difficult to work with. They they put out a lot of what I call pencil shaving terps. So you grow a whole population of, back cross to the original OG cut or Chem 91, and just a lot of the population, depending on what you hybridize it with, just smells like, woody and burnt pencil shaving kind of smell. Not desirable. The stuff that isn't like that is like all the super dank chemi shit. So it's like you definitely want to hunt through those populations to find the skunky dank stuff, but you still have to weed through the shitty part of that population. And that's been true for every Chem and OG line I've ever seen anyone make. I don't think that's exclusive to like my experience. I've popped plenty of other people's seeds of the same stuff and of the hybrids with the same plants, and it's the same results. There's definitely a big portion of the population in OG and Chem hybrids that are just lackluster in all ways. They might yield really good and have pretty good resin content, but the terps will just be muted. I mean, it's not people calling them numbers because they want to. It's because you are growing hundreds or thousands of plants. And what are you going to do? Give every single one a name? I'd be like giving every turd you put in the toilet a name. Like, why don't you just start doing that? So, I'll smoke a bowl of this thing too, just to smoke it different ways, so you guys can. Yeah, I mean, I like this weed a lot. I'll hold it like this for like a minute. We'll see if the resin ring forms at the roach. I'm sure it does. I definitely agree though. Like a good joint, you know, even with its fucking band-aid around it and everything, its wound, uh, a glass tip makes for a better experience. I don't know if it tastes better or worse necessarily. I get pretty good flavor out of, you know, no crutch, a paper crutch or a glass crutch, but I like the feel of glass is definitely the best. That's why I like a glass pipe too. See, I get people telling me I'm humble in the chat, and then in real life, or and then on Instagram, people tell you got a massive ego. So which one is it, bro? Which one is it? I haven't figured it out yet. It's just people that just weak people that are afraid of being challenged, and if you challenge them, they it becomes ad hominem attacks. That's all they got. That's all they got. They don't want to actually have a discussion about whatever it is they want to argue that I disagree with, or they disagree with me on. Yeah, and I mean, I think the other thing people, you know, I'm still in this by choice. Like, I could take it easy. I just love herb. I feel like the old school, the stuff that was like a lot of our scene, what it means was things that were brought to Europe by Sam the Skunk Man, Rob Clark, and that crew of guys, and they kind of brought that culture to Amsterdam. That culture flourished in Amsterdam, and Americans looked to Amsterdam for, you know, the 15 years before, from my childhood to me being growing weed. During that period of time, Americans, because of prohibition here, looked to Amsterdam for our weed culture. And that's why skunk and NL and Jack Hare and all these varieties that all were from those projects in the Netherlands were such an integral part of the early growth of Dutch Canada, of early growth of American domestic production. And that's where our culture came from. And that's the culture when I started growing and started being interested in cannabis, like in 2000. At that time in 2000, the old school was only 15 years earlier, in 1985, right? So I was looking at that and just like, the gospel was what happened in the 80s basically to me. And what happened in the 80s was marijuana horticulture, the cannabis cups, the high times stuff. Not that high times was some bastion of light. It was just the only light in a really dark tunnel in America for that time. And so that's just kind of what it is. So for me, I really appreciate that old culture, because that old culture was about doing the work, growing the plants. I mean, if you guys remember Sam the Skunk Man, he would always joke with anybody that wanted to talk about how good their weed was did you grow 10,000 plants to find it? Then you don't have shit. And he's right. It's like you really don't have anything that you can really say is the keeper or something really good until you've seen 10,000 population. Like even this selection, which this one came out of like maybe 100 seeds of this specific hybrid. Um, this plant, if I grew 1,000, may not even be the keeper, like at all. This is just the keeper of, a 1 percentile population. And if I had 1,000 plants, I'd have, a 0.01, a 0.001 or whatever it is, 1,000th population. And so, to me, that's what's important. So, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do the best you can with what you've got, but that's why I've, invest more into popping seeds than I think most other people do. I can't grow 20,000 a year either, but I can grow 20,000 over 10 years. So that was the old school. That was what used to be important, down to the bone. I'll take them. That was kind of always what it was all about, is like finding something new that was better. And I guess people were incentivized back then to do it, because even the plants that didn't come out good would still be valuable. Your non-keeper plants would be valuable as products still, because weed was still scarce. But nowadays, you do a big hunt and you get a bunch of junk because you just didn't make a good cross. You crossed it to a bunch of stuff that didn't combine well. You get a bunch of junk that all you can really do with that stuff is wash it these days. And if it's a variety that doesn't wash well, like let's say you're working with Schramm or something that doesn't make good washing hybrids, then all the crappy plants from a Schramm hunt you can't wash them, and no one wants jack smelling units. So it's that stuff's useless. You give it away or throw it in the dump or wash it and get your 0.5% yield. And maybe I'm talking too much here and people just, don't care, don't understand, or maybe you guys do, but I'm just putting the perspective that I have, doing what I do. That's all it is. And, I've got a great team that, we've built relationships over 20 years that we can get, a lot done with very little. Relatively speaking, I mean, I wish I could do more, but it's expensive to run through seeds and get no results and everything else. So speaking of which, like I did a Schramm cross recently. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I just have a little bud of it left. But it's a Schramm cross with Moonbow 24 F2 number 31. And I think it's awesome. It like fixed all the bud structure of the Schramm. It's like pretty much mostly Schramm smell, but sticks to the palate 2 or 3 times lighter or 2 or 3 times longer. So it's pretty awesome. And it's lemony air freshener Schramm, that's for sure. All right, let's answer some questions here. $10K really isn't that bad if you're a large grow. It's almost impossible as a small grow. I mean, 10,000 plants, the cost there's no like cut break on growing plants. It costs just as much to grow 10,000 as it does to grow 10 per plant. So, if it costs you $5,000 for a cycle with 50 plants, it's going to cost you 50 or 100, 500 grand to do 10,000 plants. Depending on how good those seeds are you got, could be a $500,000 loss. So, and then, people are like, oh, well, you can do outdoor hunts. And it's like, I'll tell you this much. I've seen a lot of people do outdoor hunts, and the results of outdoor plants are drastically different than what they produce indoor every single time. I've never seen like someone select something from outdoor and then bring it inside, and that's like the crusher inside. And it makes perfect sense. The plants, when we make selections for indoor and breed from indoor selected plants, the first thing you select for before anything else, before you select for any quality, the first thing you'll notice about these plants is the ones that don't grow well at all under artificial light. Those are the plants that don't convert light energy efficiently, right? They need way higher lumens or photons than what indoor lights can produce. Therefore, they perform poorly. You get a poor phenotype or genotype expression, and that plant seems like it's trash indoors. The first thing you select for is the plants that even perform well under artificial lighting. So, that's the first thing you're even selecting for. So you take all these plants that may do really well outside and you bring them inside, and a lot of them just don't even come out the same at all, because the indoor environment isn't. And sometimes when you take stuff from inside to outside, they don't perform well either, or they perform very differently. But usually when you select something from inside and put it outside, the terps stay the same. You take stuff from outside that smells really good and bring it inside, and they're just totally lackluster. I definitely do not collect Pokemon cards. I'm not like a collector, and especially not something like that. I mean, Pokemon cards, NFTs, like, you guys are crazy buying that shit for the kind of money I've seen. I mean, if you're hustling it as like some sort of whatever, but as like a long-term investment, like, I just don't see it. There's a window of opportunity. It's like baseball cards, same thing, had their day. They've gone back up because all the money that got printed in the last 5 years, but it's like, you're relying on the greater fool theory that there's someone else coming along behind you that's going to buy it for more money than you paid for it. Yeah, Beanie Babies. It's like, it's the greater fool theory. You're relying on there being someone willing to take a higher risk than you are long term. But yeah, this collectible stuff, people are crazy with that. Like, buy a house first. I mean, unless you can make a house out of Beanie Babies, then you should give it a whirl. Beanie Baby build. I mean, it's like taking Bitcoin for payment. It could have been a great investment. It's not that it wasn't like a good investment if it turns out good, but it's definitely, you're engaged in exchanging value with an alternative medium or alternative currency, and the value of that currency is not based on its intrinsic value, but is based on there being a marketplace of people willing to overpay for this non-intrinsic value thing, basically a rarity thing. So, it doesn't mean everybody will think it's worth anything, but as long as you can find somebody to sell it to, then yeah, it might be the best shit in the world. So, I'm not saying anybody to not do it. I'm just saying to know what it is you're buying. It's no different than cash. I mean, there's a fiat currency is the same thing as a Yu-Gi-Oh card or whatever it is. It's a fake representation of value that has no intrinsic value itself other than the paper it's printed on. And so what's backing the value? And so, yeah. Yeah, it's speculating. I mean, the housing market is speculating right now. Wheat is another form of currency, right? But it's also subject to supply and demand. That's why we have ag markets and everything. So I'm not trying to be a trader. I don't need to be one. I know more broke traders than I know ones that got rich. So I wish you luck. See, smoke some Schramm and it'll get you all, talking financials. All right, I'll smoke a bowl of this thing and then I'm going to take off. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like a basily dank, skunky, blueberry, lemon peel kind of thing. Hey, Andre, look, nobody cares, bro. So we're going to see you later, buddy. Collabs with other breeders. I mean, no, not really. I mean, if I do, it'd be me popping their seeds and finding something cool. And then go through that stuff and see if there's anything cool in there. But you're talking long ways down the road, and whatever it is I found or something they had would have to be something significantly producing something significant. So it's like until I even have something good, would I even comment? Because it's like I'm not. Everybody's always just like, oh, if I cross this with this, it's going to be the shit. And it's for me, I don't have that experience. I mean, you get better results with better plants, of course, but what I like to do is try everything and see what I can get. I mean, you never know what the hybrid's going to create, and so that's really what I work on, is just kind of trying everything and see what happens. And if these two things hybridize really well and I find something good out of it, awesome. If not, then I'm glad I didn't hype it up before I even got it, count my chickens before they hatch. No different than seeds. I have never heard of Big Dan Genetics. Flavor Pack is for sure dank. I like the Flavor Pack. I like the AM10, which is the Flavor Pack Skittles. I like I like that Petrochem. I mean, I keep a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff. That's why it's the archive, not the one book does it all. Tahiti Lime is Moonbow 25 crossed with Lemon Lime line, which is the lemon peel lemon heads line. Between all the places, there's probably 600 mothers across all partnerships and everything. Nice. The Root Brother was the face-off tie line that I made from Chris's brother's tie plant that Chris had given to me like probably almost 20 years ago, maybe 15, 17, 18 years ago. And I made a face-off hybrid with that line and then lost the clone. And then he popped those, and then I can't remember how many males he used, but he made F2s and a bunch of stuff. Some cool stuff, weird like oniony, incense, bubble gum, dank, kind of cool stuff. Kind of some kind of train wrecky stuff in there every once in a while, but really not. It's like a weird tie where it doesn't give much terpenoline. It's more like the fruity onion funk smell. Cool plant. I do not have any sweeties kicking around. I think genetics have basically stayed the same. I think there's more people making hybrids with better plants these days. But I grew I don't know, probably $15,000 worth of seeds back then. So whatever that was, like, let's say it was $100 to $200 a pack. So, like 100 to 200 packs of seeds back then. Between those and stuff we popped maybe like 10 years ago, where I went through all my old collection and popped all the stuff I wanted to, but didn't ever pop. And we popped all those and got absolute garbage from the vast majority of it. And that was all stuff I bought on like CBay and Seeds Direct and from Heaven's Stairway, and even stuff I had from Mark Emery. All stuff that was ordered from all that. So, no, I don't think it's gotten necessarily better or worse in terms of stability, which is what you're asking. I think you're asking about hermaphrodites. I think there's just more people making seeds these days with highly hermaphroditic plants, but those highly hermaphroditic plants are also better quality. So, what would you rather go through? Hermes and high quality, or male female but low quality? I think it's kind of, that's maybe the bigger difference between what's more publicly available. You have more choices of stuff that's been made with plants that probably maybe have issues and haven't been tested. So that'd be my guess, statistically. My experience is that I get better seeds or better plants from seeds these days, even from seeds I grow from other people, than I did 20 years ago from the stuff I bought from what was available back then. I guess that was my point. Yeah, Chem 91 and its hybrids can always throw some balls. I even had a Chem 91. I had a hazmat one time that when I flowered it, the whole plant, I topped it probably, if I remember right. It was, I think I bent the top on it. I bent the top like this, and the big branch that came out the side when I like did the training, that thing turned full male. The rest of the plant was female. You know. And I remember like Ivan was showing he was running that papaya, and you remember he showed a whole fucking plant or a whole arm of one of the papaya clones that was male. And then I had that same experience with green crack when I was experimenting with CalMag back in, I don't know, 2006 or 7 probably. Had my basement spot next to Green Lake in Seattle, and I had like a table of green crack that I had gotten mislabeled as Silver Pearl from Shroomy 420. And I had flowered them out in like 1 gallon pots real short. And they didn't get very big because it's green crack. And I used a lot of CalMag trying to get them to stretch out. And I was kind of doing an experiment with some small plants. And I had like a couple of those just shoot full male branches out. So I don't think there's any evidence that Hermes are more or less quality. It's just that a lot of genetics have that trait in it in the first place. And then it just appears that a higher resin content somewhat goes with hermaphroditic traits. And then the fact that we're picking the best plant from 5 plants or 10 plants, like, think about it like this. If there's a population of plants that have your keeper pheno or genotype, and if you grow 1,000 plants of that, let's just say you find 10 of those from every 1,000 plants, and those 10 all have the same like smoking quality or smell or whatever it is you're looking for, but they all have like variations. One grows a little better, one tastes a little better, one's a little more resinous, one's a little hermy, whatever that is. Well, when you find one of those 10 plants in, let's say 10 plants, you just got lucky that you found one of 10 out of 1,000 in the first 10 seeds. Let's just say you find that. Well, that doesn't mean you get to pick which one's the least hermaphroditic to use of that phenotype and or genotype. And then even if you pop like another 100 seeds of that, you might not find another one of those 1 in 10 plants. So you might actually have to pop like all 1,000 more to find one of the same terp profile that you found in the first 10 just by stroke of good luck. It might take you a whole nother 1,000 or 10,000 seeds to find one like that that's not Hermy, just because you got so statistically lucky on the first go. And that was such a rare genotype in that population that it's possible that could happen. And even if it's not that rare, even if there's 10 out of 1,000 that are like that, then you're going to have to, you might have to grow 990 more or 980 more to find, so that the last 9 you get in those last 9 plants. It's crazy, the statistical problem that you're faced with when you find something good and then pop another 200 seeds and not find anything better. Like I did that with the Petrochem, this Petrochem 15 that I was showing you guys. I popped another 200 seeds of that and did a whole room trying to find a skunkier one. And I found in the first 20, I found one or two of them that I liked a lot. The number 4, which is more OG-ish, and then the number 15, which or no, it was the 12 I think we kept. The 12, it was 4, 12, and 15. I can't remember if we kept the 4 or the 12, but definitely kept the 15. And the 15 was in the first population. I grew another, we have like a EE 155 and shit. That's that same population. Or a I can't remember the letters on that one. The Petra, yeah, it's EE. And I didn't find anything like more skunky or better than the 15 that I found in the first 20. So that shit sucked. Yep, Cheese Clone is still alive. So who else has any more questions? Otherwise, I'm going to hop off here. I don't know if the CalMag caused the herming, but there definitely seems to be a correlation between too much nitrate usage and low quality and higher rates of hermaphrodites, especially from a seed population. Yeah, I mean, I think regs, there is something to using regs. I have nothing to support that. I just like you said, you have the Tsunami going, and for Skittles inbred work, the structure and the growth is way better than like doing as growing ZBX ones, like even the Belts 1.0s. And so that's kind of what you have to deal with. It's just that's the nature of genetics. I mean, I think the word keeper should stop being used. Just call it your selection. Okay. It's my selection. Whatever your name is, call it your selection of that. Stop calling it a keeper, because, like, you guys call all this stuff keepers. And even I might call something that I think's a keeper, but you might think it sucks. So let's just call it our selections, get rid of the keeper terminology. You might find your selection in 10 seeds for sure. Stop calling it the keeper like it's something you're going to find in that population. It's just not. It's you might find something excellent, but the odds of finding the 1 in 10,000 in the first 10 plants, like if you're successful doing that, you should start buying lottery tickets, like for real. I would actually throw money in with you on buying lottery tickets and help you buy more tickets so that we could win more often if you've got the touch like that. I mean, we should go to the casino together. Let's go gamble, dude. You got the touch. If all you need is one seed and one plant to find the keeper, I got you. I'm down to invest in that kind of, you prove the skill and I got you. You can be like Biff in Back to the Future, where you've just got your little manual and you know how it goes. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna take off. I hope that was a good explanation of the variety early on and a little bit of some bullshit here at the end. And I'll catch you guys. See, gets me ripped. I'll catch you guys later. And thanks for tuning in.